Tia Mowry has clapped back. Okay. As many of you might know, she recently did an interview. And in the interview, she was speaking about, various situations that she's going through right now in her life. She was talking about the dating world and how difficult it is for her to be dating right now at this stage, how men are, when she goes out on dates, how men believe that they are the prize. Like, it was a whole long conversation, and a lot of people everywhere were kind of looking at her sideways, like, okay, but you're complaining about the dating world and how difficult it is. However, you were in a marriage that no one has seen you say, or you have not clarified that you didn't have any toxicity. There wasn't like a difficult situation. You simply stated that you graduated from your marriage, and people are like, okay, so is it a situation where you can't be satisfied? Because you were married and you were complaining, and now you're dating and you're complaining. Are you the common denominator? In particular, I did a video, and I'm gonna have the link somewhere here so you guys can see it if you did not see the first video. And I was very clear in my communication that I was stating, like, hey, it could be that she just said she graduated because she didn't want to, put all their public business out there in the media. It could be that they had, toxic issues. It could be that they had a toxic relationship. I am not one person who's going to say that you should be in a situation that is harmful to you. However, with a lot of women in these similar situations, there is no trouble in paradise. The woman gets bored. She see her friends out there having fun. She see, she think the grass is greener because everybody out partying, doing this, doing that. And she has an obligation and a duty to, put her husband first, make sure that his needs are met. Some women realize, okay, I don't feel like doing this no more. Some women have this, they get to a stage where they feel like they want to go back out and party and have fun. Like, these are real conversations that we're having, right? And, I find it ironic that a lot of women, they always have a problem if, somebody is holding their feet to the fire, or are standing on the words that they said when they're the ones who said it, because they feel like, oh, I should be able to do whatever I want to do. I should be able to say whatever I want to say. And if y'all are part of the sisterhood, y'all better step with me. You can't, make an example. You can't tell other women that they shouldn't be doing what I'm doing because, sometimes the singlehood is misery and misery need company. Like, just being honest. One thing that I want to clarify before I read what she said, okay, is that a lot of people have a hard time understanding, the people who purposely have a hard time understanding what I communicate here on my channel is the fact that, listen, there are other women who are in similar situations as Tia and who are thinking, you know what? Yeah, I kind of feel like I've outgrown this too. All this knowledge of getting a high value man or having a man that's going to do these certain things for me, I'm just now finding this stuff out. And so now, even though I have a good man, even though I have a man who supports me, even though I have a man who's a good leader who loves me, I realize that, his little job that he's in, that he gonna get his pension from, is not gonna work for me. And I want somebody who's gonna fly me out. I want to experience the luxurious lifestyles that I see these women experiencing on social media. And so because I feel that I deserve more, I'm going to leave what I have and drop the zero and get with a hero. And it's important that these women hear the conversation. Don't go out there thinking that somebody just gonna hurry up and scoop you up like you the most hottest commodity. Don't go out there thinking that the same way that your husband, because he loved you and appreciated you, was there for you and dealt with the little nuances that you came with, that these men who don't know you from nowhere are going to deal with them. It's what you call a reality check. But I realize that a lot of these women have a strong problem with reality. They want to live in bliss and this and that. And, don't tell me anything that's going to hurt my feelings. Don't tell me anything that I don't want to hear. Don't tell me anything that's going to go against my plan in my brain that I'm trying to execute, even if it's unrealistic. Don't say nothing. So in her clapback, okay, let me tell you what Tia said. She said, a word from me, since narratives are being made without my consent. Hear it here and only here. Just because the dating life is complicated doesn't mean I'm going to go back to something that no longer served me. That's like implementing if I don't book an audition or a part as an actor right away, I'm going to give up on my dreams. Please just stop. I ain't that weak. Please move on because I have thank you next, right? We're going to get into that, but she also said something else here. So this woman said, that's a lot to say, especially at 6 a.m. I would never address this publicly, and I know we all handle things in our own way, but God dog, I would be too focused on my life and my kids to comment on my ex-husband / their father. Tia clapped back again. She said, boo-boo, I'm in Europe traveling the world, so it ain't 6 a.m. Also, you ain't me either, so I think it's best to stop projecting your life onto mine. Focus on you, not me next. Listen, first of all, before I respond, Tia, who you mad at? Like, who you mad at? Who specifically made you this upset that now the people who are commenting with their own opinions, you posted something on social media. There are people who love you and who are still going to say, hey, I love you, but I don't understand why you're responding to this, and I don't understand why you're doing this. And you are clapping back at your fan base. Boo boo, you ain't me, do you? Like, why are you so angry? Is it because it struck a nerve? Or is it because of the fact that, you know, you're in a place that you are trying to figure it out, and maybe you're unsure if you made the right decision, and so you're kind of like, I'm going to use your word, projecting that onto others? I'm confused, girl. I'm confused. Let me go back to her original post before I go into the latter. But, you know, one thing that I thought was very interesting here is, like, you know, she's constantly now. You said that you graduated from your marriage. Then you ended up saying that you guys have a good relationship. You guys have a friendship or whatever. You guys are co-parenting, whatever the situation is. But then now this is starting to become like, my baby daddy ain't sugar honey iced tea. And he ain't nobody. He ain't nothing. Like, that's what this rhetoric is giving. Whether you realize that or not, it's coming across. You're saying things about, you know, people who are speaking for you, which I don't think anybody is speaking for you. I think people are speaking their opinions on your very public situation. However, when you say, oh, well, you know, I'm not going back to something that no longer served me. Something, not someone, not that relationship, you know, not even a conversation in the sense of like, hey, you know, I understand that I did leave a relationship that maybe everybody thought was a certain way, but there's a lot of things that people don't know behind closed doors. Like, there's a lot of things that I've experienced, and, you know, we were just no longer compatible. And it's not that I have any, you know, disdain or anything for that person, but we are no longer in each other's lives in that way. Like, there's a lot of ways to dress it up. But this came across very, he ain't sugar honey iced tea. Y'all ain't sugar honey iced tea. Leave me alone. You know, whatever, rah-rah campaign. I don't get it. What the lady said in the slide, you know, is a very valid point. Her point of view is very valid. Like, if you're so happy or if you're so this, why do you even care what people think? Or why do you even care what people are saying? Or if this is not the case, why are you even saying anything about him? Why can't you just say that you're happily single? You know, forget what y'all heard. I'm happily single. Okay. Another thing that I want to point out is that, you know, she said, please, just stop. I'm not that weak, right? And I think that this is one of the main reasons that keeps a lot of women in the sisterhood single. Again, let me tell you something. You see, I use these conversations to talk to a lot of other women who are not Tia. Okay? Who are in similar situations, and again, think the grass is greener. Because I don't have any doubt that there is a possibility that Tia will possibly be in another relationship, or even possibly get married again, not just because of her image, but also because of her status. There is a possibility. There's also a possibility that that will not happen. Because as we've seen, if you have publicly graduated from a marriage, other men might look at you and say, this might be a liability. Because I don't know if I'm going to put my effort into you, and one day you might say that you're graduating from me. Just a possibility. But her possibilities might be very different than Sarah down the block, who does not have access to certain men, who does not have access to certain things. And she might feel like because Tia could do it, she could do it. And I'm over here like, sis, think about reality. Think about the severity of the situation. What's so ironic to me too is that a lot of these women, right, they say that they're not, I'm not settling for the bare minimum. They love to say that. I'm not settling for the bare minimum. And, my marriage wasn't serving me. I'm not settling for that. And I shouldn't have to, I shouldn't have to settle. And what's ironic is that they say that they're not settling. So they move on from their marriage. Then they go out into the dating world. And when things start looking lily, when it starts looking like there's a possibility that they might actually be single, that maybe people are actually not falling for the okie doke, or maybe people actually don't want to be with them, then they ironically settle for the man who is willing to be with them so that they can save face and make it seem as though they are happy, just because they don't want to make it seem like, they were the problem. Or they don't want to portray that they are alone, especially if the ex move on to somebody else. So the same settling they didn't want to do because of the marriage, they end up doing outside the marriage to save face. I'm just keeping it real. Very real. Maybe a little too real. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the problem. I want to go back to the second comment that she said. And, this woman, again, she just saying that's a lot. I wouldn't even care about, talking about my ex or the husband or whatever. And, I love the way that this woman said my ex-husband / their father, because, this woman is trying to reiterate the fact that, like, yes, you and this person did not have a successful relationship between the two of you, but one day maybe your kids are going to look at this and feel kind of sad or bad about this situation, because it's like, was he that bad? Like, what you mean? Oh, I ain't that weak. And I want to address this too. You see, this whole narrative that being weak, as a woman, I ain't weak. Oh, that's bad, or, that's humiliating, or that's lame, or that's shameful. It's very, it's very interesting to me, I will say. Because weakness as a woman is actually our power. It's we have the ability to be weak. Men don't have that ability. Women have that ability for a lifetime, to be the weaker vessel, to be weak, to be emotional, to communicate in spaces of, like, hey, I feel this way, and I can just lay my emotions out on the table, or to be comforting, to be nurturing, to be soft, to be coy. That's our privilege as women. To say that if a woman is, facing hardship outside in the real world because she realizes that her husband was actually the one for her, and maybe she was tripping when she went out there, or maybe she was tripping, or she made a decision off of impulse. Maybe her hormones was out of whack, and they had her thinking that she feels a whole different way, that she doesn't want to be in something, or whatever the situation is. Maybe she was getting influenced by social media. and she realizes that she made a mistake, and she wants to get back with her family or rebuild her family structure, why, as women, should we look at that woman and call her weak? Do you know how much strength that is? I would say something else, but do you know how much strength that takes for a woman to say, I was wrong? But y'all saying that's weak. That's weakness. If that's weakness, I think that's beautiful, because you know why? It's the realization of wrongdoing. It's accountability. Now, maybe that person doesn't want to be with her again, or maybe he does, whatever the situation is, but the realization of it. Some people are in situations right now and they're not going back to fix the relationships that they broke themselves as women because of their ego and their pride. Oh, I'm not finna be weak. Oh, I'm not gonna go over him. Oh, I'm not gonna listen to nobody telling me you told you so. You care too much about what other people think. That's not weakness. You could say you were wrong. That's the problem now. A lot of y'all in relationships, you can argue with your man. You can't say you're wrong. You can't own up to anything. You can't apologize. This is reality. I don't think there's anything, more discouraging as a woman who is trying to figure things out than other women who are forcing you to fit their narrative. It's not just about perspective. It's about a very strong narrative that you are supposed to fit the mold of. And if you don't, we got a problem with you. That's interesting. I would like to know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I would love to hear you guys' opinions on this video. Again, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it one more time. These conversations are very important and vital, because there are a lot of women who are looking up or looking at certain people on social media and are comparing their lives and are not thinking about the entire spectrum of the situation, who are not thinking about the entire picture of the situation. If you think that this conversation only goes as deep as talking about Tia's relationship, you do not understand the depths of this conversation. And that's okay. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear you guys' opinions on this video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next one. Love you.